Beloved heart, I invite you to sign up to my mailing list, and as a result of signing up, you will get a free gift. It's a 5D rebalance tune up of all these chakras, and chakras are my specialty. So I would love to gift you with this transmission that is filled with light language and codes to help you stay balanced and tuned up during these increased frequencies of energy of this ascension, this new earth frequency. So check out the links in the notes of this show. And I look forward to connecting with you. I am sending you love. This is the transfiguration of the new you. Hello, beloved. I'm Monica Bermudez. I am your host for this podcast, Ascended Earth. And this topic is really about the post energetic events that we just had over the weekend that I'm calling the energy hangover. There was, a huge energy high that happened this whole weekend, which included the Lionsgate Portal. And as far as full moon in Aquarius, that also was a combination of many energies, eight being a factor. We had Mercury Retrograde, which is about to go direct around the time that the Lionsgate portal is coming to a conclusion. However, the energy still lives on. And so I really felt the impulse to share this message, because what happens next, right? So here's the thing, right? If we've all been doing our part, right? I had my own ceremony with a group, with me, and I have to say that my heart is so full of gratitude right now. Um, I feel so much love and so much compassion all at once. And also, my solar plexus feels like it's on fire, like it's really burning for this whole new level stepping, forward. So as we've all, may have had our own activities, that we may have done our own ceremonies or our own events during this time of this Lionsgate portal. The message that I was getting is that there is this time frame of um, it almost feels like things are a little bit lighter than it was when things were accelerating towards that time frame of August 8th, the heightened portal energy. And I felt that things were coming in a very quantum compressed way, like all these lifetimes accumulating at once, and we were being compressed to that point of our own decision to choose the next path forward, which is really the frequency of things and the vibrations, where we want to be on the path that we want to be on with our highest timeline. So, but it also was some aspect that was being completed as well, which is where the full moon comes in into this whole mix. And so what's going to happen is that things are really going to play out. Doesn't mean that things are going to complete all at once, right now, but things are going to start to accelerate, at a quantum level, that what needs to complete will be completed in its own timing. I would say in a divine timing. But once, that decision was made, when those intentions were set for that Lionsgate portal, which is also a manifesting portal, but it's also a portal of cleansing, and completions as well. So it was like a super emphasis, weekend on this because of the full moon in Aquarius as well. And with us being in retrograde with Mercury, there was also that of our communication. So I was feeling a lot of clarity, clarity today as I'm recording this on Sunday, right? This is going to be released on Monday. But I'm feeling this really intense emphasis on the clarity of things, of our communication, and how we express ourselves in the things that we do and the people that we associate with, and relationships that we have. And it's really just tapping in more so into your own inner guidance at a much more clearer way. And so that's what it feels like to me. I don't feel that quantum compression happening that was accelerating also the time and the timelines reaching to the heightened point of August 8th. But from here on out, things, it's just more, it's going to be like more of this forward momentum of an action as well, taking the steps, on those intentions that we set. So it's really like being aware, and remembering as well what those intentions were and maintaining ourselves in that highest timeline, but at the same time, allowing what needs to be completed in its own way. So it doesn't mean that just because that we say that things are going to be completed, say during that full moon releasing, of the in Aquarius, doesn't mean that it was just done and completed in that moment. But the seed was there. It was planted right there. And so what it feels like is going to be this forward momentum of things unraveling, and then things that are going to be revealed, what is the truth of things will be more accelerated. I would say like there may be more shock waves of, download of information that, and talking more from an individual level, from your own soul remembrance. So receiving more insight on your next steps of action, and where you want to, lead more so from the heart. Because that's really where a lot of like everything that seems chaotic, that is all coming up and, seems a bit overwhelming. That is where we're all, heading, is that, for this new earth, for this new timeline, for the highest timeline, and moving into like ascension or moving into our next level of, whether that's 5D or 6D, um, it always comes back to the heart and how we connect ourselves to that heart and continue to do so. Um, and that itself is the foundation because, love, which is divine love, and, I'm talking more from the foundations of your own heart, which are interconnected with divine love and source, of all, um, that we start to build foundations that are in support of self, uh and also, which also, like, serve others, because, there is this whole balance, when it comes to our wholeness and completion, right? There's a balance, a fine balance of the giving and receiving. And if we're giving too much from an empty cup, it's not helping you and it's not helping anybody else, because I feel like it's just going to make things worse. And so this is one of those areas that I'm really like starting to pay more attention on. And I was shown other areas that I um I should look at and to tighten up, in other words, to tighten up within myself. And so pay more attention to it. And that may include having a clear communication of healthy boundaries, and also, being clear what it is that um you need to say with your messaging. Um And so that's where the Mercury going direct comes in, because as we are in this Mercury retrograde, right, there is an inner reflection of all of this. And so we may have gotten or been shown like wounds that we thought that we may have healed, they may have been resurfaced um, again, but it was to either test us to see if our foundations are really solid and strong. And if they're not, then it's really teaching us how to solidify it and tighten it even more so. And so that's the clarity that I was getting, as I was sitting here reflecting on things, reflecting on the whole event for this whole weekend. I mean, it was such a beautiful event. I had the ceremony, on Friday, and that night, I really felt that the portal got even more intense, and I felt like I was in other different dimensions as well. And it was just a really beautiful upgrade of transformation. So I just allowed myself to receive in that moment. And then Saturday, I spent my day actually hiking in a mountain during the day. And later on, I went to this fire ceremony with a whole group, local groups at the mountaintop, which is for me like extra special because I love being on the mountaintop when it's dark at night and getting to look at the stars, but also see if there are any star beings or any star families showing themselves, in their different spaceships. And we did have a moment that we were seeing somewhere in the mountain about there was it looked like it was a UFO that was shining the light, or communicating. But it was just a few of us that saw it. So that was fun. It's a lot to reflect and think about. And so and now, I'm just spending this time reflecting on everything and all the energies and the accumulation, the integration of the energy, and getting this download of information, which I really felt the urge and the desire to share this with you as well. And so we'd love to hear, your comments, what, transpired for you during the events and what you felt and, how it went for you. But I'm sure it was very magical for you in every way. Um, and so, but, that's what I was getting for us as a message. So take what resonates as well. It may be different for you. Everybody's going to experience something different. But for those who really like resonate with it, take what matters. So some may be experiencing, like any form of fatigue or anything like that. So rest, is probably the best thing to do right now, as well as drinking plenty of water, and really just keeping yourself grounded. And the more you do so, with these things, the more clarity you're going to be receiving as well, and download of information that is pertaining to you right now, in this moment. And as that's going to continue, to unfold, is, what I'm feeling for us, for most of us. And so
unlock your limitless potential with the monthly multiversal circle of creation. This sacred quantum manifestation ritual will awaken your inner power and connect you to the successful versions of yourself across the multiverse. Clear blocks, amplify your creative energy, and set powerful intentions for abundance, love, and possibilities. Activate your galactic aspects, recalibrate your nervous system, and manifest your dreams with cosmic clarity. Available in person and via Zoom. Join us for this transformative experience today.
we're going to, get that extra energy support, moving forward. So the more that we're able to release and let go of things that, we feel are being resistant, within us, the more that we're able to open up these other pathways of our abundant flow that we already are. And so what really keeps the floodgates, or this flow to come to us is really the resistance and something, or the something that feels like it's limiting, or and it may be tied to certain belief systems that we haven't really looked at or revisited. And that's why when it's Mercury retrograde, it really serves to allow our time to really reflect on these things, because that's really what the retrograde planets do, is they help us reflect more so that we can have more insight in our own like spiritual evolution, our own growth. And this will just continue to expand our heart even more so, and just open us up more to our own heart energy of our own divine love, which is all intertwined with self-love, and how we view ourselves and how we trust ourselves, because really the trust really starts with self, right? And so if there is this, this trust that is happening with someone else, remember that we are all mirrors of one another. It's all reflected back to us. So if there's something that you feel that you're not trusting in someone else, really ask yourself inside, what is it? Where is this coming from? And it could be coming from an old wound, an old trauma that it's still kind of playing out in the background. And so that's where, a lot of this post Lionsgate, this post weekend of energies is really emphasizing these moments of reflection and integration and really setting it and putting it into action and how that's going to, be in action for you. Um, but, the more that we choose, right, where that frequency is that we want to move into. And I want to give an example, right? Like, for instance, if we spend most of our time in these victim mindset, where, that's, a different kind of frequency, right? That keeps us, I would say, in lack, separated, and disconnected. But if we're able to just really take a look at how we can shift that over to being creative and finding, creative solutions and things, and just looking at it from a different perspective of how, this could be an opportunity for creating a different solution. And that will shift into a different frequency. And that frequency is of looking at the infinite possibility of things, and the infinite opportunities that it presents. And I feel like when we move into that frequency of our choice, that is, of our creativity that we already have within us, that also opens up other doors and opportunities and pathways that is synchronistic and that is with ease and that is with grace. And because, all of these are already a big part of us. And so synchronicity sometimes do appear like it's magic because in a way it is, but it's all part of the universal flow of energy that we already are. And so I just want to leave you with this message to remember to continue to nurture yourself, first of all, and really pay attention to where those areas are that are leaking power, and having that clarity to be, to tighten it up more so than ever. And really just continue to ground with these energies. Because from here on out till the rest of 2025, things are going to move in a very, I would say, in a different frequency because we are definitely in this new earth vibe right now. And so things are going to unfold. What I feel is, the things that you may have set into motion that you said that you would complete or be done with are going to be showing up in a different way that is going to be completing. So, in other words, playing out because the outcome is already there on that timeline that, was chosen. So, if it's something of the highest timeline, that means that you're signing up to really closing out a lot of things and they may show up in different ways, but what we most of all want is that things be done with ease and grace and with peace. But peace, being a big part of you, first of all, finding your own inner peace, your own inner calmness, and just really reflecting on these, last few days that we had and moving forward where, we're heading. So just continue as the last moments of the Lionsgate portal continues, just coming to slow down, in other words, because I don't really think portals really close or open. They just kind of like go through these momentums and cycles of different energy peaks. Um, you can use the rest of this time to really just continue to manifest, continue to make proclamations to yourself, continue to organize yourself, your life, and receive those download of information with such clear um, information that you take the action now and that you start setting those actions in motion. So, anyway, so that's what I'm feeling because I've been feeling a lot of action moving forward of getting myself organized. So, in a way, just kind of motivated because I feel like most of us were probably in a bit of a reset as well. But we are moving into our next level. And so, the intentions that you've set for this Lionsgate, um, just, figure out, what those next steps are. And that will come through with your clarity as well, your download of information. So take a note on what those downloads are and reflect on them. This time also to carve out some time for reflections too. And so that's why it's a energy hungover. Anyways, I'm laughing on my own jokes of my own words that I like to play with. But that's really what it feels like because I feel like we just had so much energy consumption. And so, it's going to feel different for everybody. But I just want you to take, that with you to use this time as Mercury is about to complete its cycle to reflect. And, moving forward, always, obviously, whenever you need to go through your own reset, you will get your own rest and your own time to do that when it's best for your own sanity, for your own mental health, for your own physical health as well. So give yourself all the care that you need at this time. And this is coming from someone who's always been an overgiver. Um, as I reflect on that and how much I've matured since the time that I really like broke a lot of cycles of the overgiving and really balanced, myself between the giving and receiving. And so there were some areas that I was just polishing and tightening up. And so some of you may be going through the same thing that, if you worked on previous wounds so much and then you're finding that some of these are starting to pop up again, you're not alone. This is actually really, this year has been like a testing year of our foundations. And not just that, but also ensuring that our foundations are solid, are strong, are concrete, because moving into the new earth is really our next phase, our next level. It is our wholeness and our completion that we were always meant to be. And just so you know that healing just doesn't ever like really end. I think it just goes through cycles. So when we're going through like, if something new pops up, because there's things still unfolding, as this whole like world is going through a reset as well. We're all part of this whole system that we're here on Earth. Earth is a school, is, we're learning different things in our own way. Um, And so sometimes, things may come up and doesn't mean that you're perfect or that you're not going to feel anything if something else comes up, something new, or just because you're done with like healing that you're not going to feel anything else from here on. It's like I feel it goes through different cycles, and I feel that in those different cycles, you just get stronger. And so, with every new thing that pops up, you're able to handle it in a much different way, a much different perspective than it would have been like years ago. Um, so, you can look at it that way. It's like a different, level of understanding, a different level of perception, and so it's going to be a different level of healing as well. And so from that is, it's just, the foundations are key right now, building on our foundations. It's like the foundation of our home. If that foundation is never taken care of, as the house ages, then, is going to crumble at some point. And so if it's, regular maintenance that we do now, that we continue to solidify ourselves, then, this will just make it easier for us in the process that we're all pretty much moving into, going through different process of our own spiritual evolution and growth. And so I wish you well in your time of integration and these last few days of this, Lionsgate portal. There will be more events that are going to be very big for us, as star seeds and light workers that we consider sacred and holy days, as it was, for many of our ancient civilizations who honored these time frames that are resurfacing, returning, and that remembrance is coming back again. And it's all being solidified and building, those foundations in a different way. So, with much love, do I wish you all the best and the happiest of manifestations for this Lionsgate. So, I will catch you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save, and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.